My name is Ambassador Christopher Kirigua. As Chamada said, I'm the Deputy Chief of Mission and Chief Representative of the National Treasury of Kenya. I'm a career banker. I can assure you that image is me. Clearly I was much younger, but I can assure you it's me. Yeah. I used to be a diaspora like many of you. I went to school here. I was in Chicago. I left Chicago in 2003 after working there for about 4 years. Went back to Kenya. And I remember when I was leaving Chicago, everyone was asking me, what are you thinking about to go back home? But I can tell you it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Because if you invest in Kenya, what I did in those many years is something that I would never have been able to do if I was still in Chicago. Yeah. So by career-wise, I'm a career banker. So I joined government about it's now about 5 years ago. So I used to be for those I see many friends here. So for those who know me, I used to be an investment banker with Standard Chartered Bank. I was responsible for the entire Africa region and Middle East. I last left when I left in 2000. Before I was called into government, I was the regional head of and executive director for sustainable finance for the region. Coming back to the States, I came in November last year. It was a great honor and privilege to be here. And I'll tell you why it's an honor and privilege. In the 7 months I've been here, the opportunities we have seen to unlock for Kenyans is endless. And I actually really like just listening to you, Karenga, just a few minutes ago. Because what he was talking about is actually absolutely right. There's nothing here say that I can say that I'll correct him here. He needs to look, but I can help you further your agenda. Yeah? And with solutions. Yeah? This market can enable us unlock a lot of investment opportunities for people in Kenya. And yourselves also. And I'll just touch back to what you just spoke about. It's about connectivity and partnerships. If you're able to connect these opportunities and link them up, first, number one, the biggest market in the world, that $800 million you spoke about is real. This is the biggest market in the world. Now, this market also has the largest spending power. So if you're able to tap into this, yeah, and I'm sorry, I don't go with the $500 and $1 million. You can tap into $100 million of this if you work with the right people. You cannot do it alone. If you work with the right people, you can tap into this. Yeah, I'm also very ambitious, so don't worry. I'll also leave government and come and join you one day. Yeah, but let me talk about Kenya, our country, our beloved country. What makes Kenya unique? You know when, and my brother, you're from Nigeria. Nigeria. Oga, you there? I've been to Nigeria. I used to cover Nigeria, so I used to go to Nigeria a lot. What makes us unique as Kenya? One, compared to many other markets, and I also talk about Nigeria, Kenya does not have FX restrictions. So as an investor sitting in the US, you've got X dollars you want to send back home to invest. In many countries, for you to get your dividends back in the US, it is a hassle. In Kenya, you invest, I like talking big, I'll use $1 million. You invest $1 million, you invest $100,000, $10,000. When you make, for example, I saw something here, like this one, this investment opportunity. You buy a one-bedroom apartment for $3 million, you get rent in shillings. This 22,000 shillings, you can actually use it for upkeep for your relatives in Kenya. But real investors actually need this money. When you scale this up and becomes a lot of money, you'll need that money where? Where you're based, right? So without FX restrictions, Kenya having a free FX market, all that money you make, 22,000 shillings, $1 million, $10 million, you can send it back home. Back to where you are without any restrictions. Oga, can you do that in Nigeria? There's restrictions. I'm a banker. Have you heard that? You've heard that? Depending on what? The scale. What did I say about Kenya? There's no scale. So there are no FX restrictions. And by the way, it's not just Nigeria. Nigeria is not as bad, by the way. It's not bad. But I can tell you about South Africa. South Africa, it's complex to get your money out. Now, can I take you to another market next to us? Ethiopia. What happens in Ethiopia? You can't get dollars, neither can you get your money out. So Kenya doesn't have those restrictions. Number two, so dividends repatriation also. Kenya has no restrictions. So you got your money, you make your money, you can take it back in. At the same time, you can spend all your money wherever you do not need to send it back to the States. You can redirect that investment to another country if you want to. One thing that's also very unique about our lovely country is, you see the way you've explained about the investment opportunities? Now, if you partner with the right people and you structure transactions well, you can actually do deals without money. I know I've lost most of you now. So now let me start this way. I like that. I wish I could have put your slide there. You know that slide you talked about investment opportunities? So now, no, you don't have to go back there. It's fine, because you'll go back and forth. First, number one, some of you have US citizenship. And if you're a US citizen, or your children have US citizenship, you can access funding to do, what do you call this? It's called project development or feasibility studies, as we know it best. And you know how that money is given? As a grant. Now, if you create partnerships, and I can tell you this, I've been educating actually, not just Kenyans on this, even Americans, because they do not know how to access this money. There's an institution called USTDA. Does anyone know USTDA? Put your hand up if you know USTDA. Man, this place has business people. No, it's exciting actually, very exciting. USTDA can give you up to $2 million in grants. That's free money to develop projects which are aligned to their interests. Yeah? If some of you have companies right here. Those are American companies, right? So if you want to do a project in Kenya, and you know, people talk about big projects, they get scared away, like with, if I tell you, let's get into a deal. I've got a $300 million project. I can tell you likely only 3 people will remain with me in this room. But I can tell you all of you can participate in that deal. The thing is that out of that $300 million transaction, how do you create value for you to participate in the transaction? Now, the first number one value is accessing that $2 million from USTDA. But if you're able to structure the feasibility study, before even you fundraise, you own 100% of the project. Now, when you bring in other partners, they dilute you. But they do not dilute you to a point of zero. So you end up having a very big project, have a small share, but you remain very relevant. I have a friend of mine in Kenya, actually. We invested in Kinangop wind plant. So my friend, Dr. Namunje, all he had, by the way, is a feasibility study. And you know how many dollars? Likely negative. He spent all his money putting in the project. But Namunje right now owns close to 20% on a project worth $300 million. Yeah, a Kenyan guy. So it's not something I'm telling you that's far-reached, but it takes time to invest and learn how to get these things done. There are many other things you need to look at when you're doing investments. It's a stable environment, meaning FX is stable, inflation is controlled, and currency is also, because you do not want to put your dollars and the currency devaluates by 100%, meaning you lose all your money. Yeah, and again, compared to our peers, the country you mentioned, I'm a diplomat, so I'm not supposed to mention countries. The country you mentioned, their currency depreciates at a rate of 30%. Meaning in less than 3.5 years, your $1 becomes how much? Close to zero. Yeah? So Kenya doesn't have that. So it's a big advantage. So we sit on a gold mine, and actually the people, do you know the people who don't know that we sit on a gold mine? Do you know who it is? It's only Kenyans. But you look at who invests in Kenya. First, some guys who live in the East. Let's not mention countries. Yeah? Don't think, and by the way, just to correct you on something on your presentation, do you know what returns they make? They don't make 10 to 15, by the way. They make 15 to 20% on projects. So the returns are bigger than anywhere else. This is not just Kenya. This is across Africa. You go to Nigeria, it's equal. They make 15 to 20%. They'll make it sound like they're only making 10. But they are making real money. Yeah? So these opportunities are there in a big way. And another big advantage we have in Kenya is our regulatory framework. Now, I can tell you this. I'm an investment banker. The number one thing banks do is avoid risky ventures. Kenya's regulatory framework is so good for investors if we know how to use it. Now, the challenge is people get scared, and I can tell you, guys, I do not have, does my face look government? Thank you. Whoever said no, by the way, no, not yet. Be kind. So I'm doing very well, by the way. I like that not yet. You know why? In 5 years, I still do not look it, and I'll try and maintain it. So anyway, Kenya's regulatory framework is so solid. So solid, and I can tell you this. If you invest in Kenya, don't complicate your things. Just make sure you have a good lawyer. You see, the reason, and I can tell you about diaspora, everyone says we send money to our relatives, we lose it. Right? Because the guy is broke. You know, it's like sending a drug. You're sending a drug addict drugs. What will he do? So when you send your broke rela money, what do you expect them to do? Then you're telling him, take that money and build for me a house. So, by the way, can I tell you who the problem is? I fully agree with you. Yeah? The problem is actually, don't look for anyone. Just go to the mirror and blame that guy. Yeah? You are the problem. Yeah? If you want to invest in property, you want to get into these big deals, don't do it without good, sound advice. Else, you're getting into it to lose. Yeah? And by the way, let me say this. That the laws of, I can tell you in my previous role when I was Director General of Public-Private Partnerships, close to 60% of the deals that used to come to my office had no legs. Over 60%. So meaning 60% of the time of my team was being wasted with people telling you that they're going to invest in Kenya, but they're not going to invest. Yeah? They are hoping that they take you through this cycle, hoping the deals will get, one day it will get legs. Yeah? So one thing I'll say is ensure you get sound advice. Yeah? And I was very impressed by your presentation. Yeah? Because it was not unreal. And you were not talking about blue sky opportunities. Yeah? Because blue sky opportunities, trust me, you'll spend a lot of time, money, and get nowhere. Yeah? So Kenya has a lot of opportunities that I'd like to touch on. So something else I was going to say is that from a mission perspective, by the way, first, Ambassador Kirich was very apologetic that he was not able to make it today. So he had to downgrade your chief guest to me. So, but one thing that we're all based here in DC, and from an embassy perspective, we're going to do many more events with yourselves. And we do not want a gentleman from Kenya called Chamwada to be inviting us for us as diaspora to get together. I think from an embassy perspective, we've received a lot of feedback. We've both been here for a very short time, but we've been told by the diaspora, first, just to give you context, last year we had our Jamhuri Day event. They had not, the embassy had not had a chance to do a Jamhuri Day event in over 10 years. Yeah? Completely out of touch with the people. Yeah? That is not what we're here for. Yeah? We're here to ensure our diaspora, first number one, yourselves, you're our number one interest. Yeah? Our country is our number one interest, but you're part of our country. Yeah? So we're going to do everything possible to enhance the activities that we do from an embassy perspective, but also the tools that we have because we're part of government. We're able to enter doors that you guys can't enter. So we'll be able to avail those. If you come with credible solutions, expect solutions from our side too, and for us to facilitate for you. Some of the things that we do in the embassy, we break it down in pillars. Our number one priority here is economic diplomacy. Economic diplomacy is driving solutions that bring back significant returns back home. Yeah? Now, let me give you some solutions on this. Like, for example, our trade discussions. Do you guys follow up what we're doing on trade with the US? Do you know about the previous TEEP negotiations that were taking place? You know. How many people know about it? You do. Who else? But very few. Let me give you some context. So, what these trade transactions are. And I'm a banker. I know trade finance. I can structure trade finance deals in my sleep. But I never knew the value of trade negotiations that it has on private sector until I came to this job. This market, now let me give you a product, coffee. We all over DC, Maryland, Virginia, we see African coffee, right? Tell me how many of you have seen Kenyan coffee in these high-end coffee shops? Just raise your hand if you've seen. Kenyan coffee. In Starbucks. Yeah? Okay, that's impressive. That's very impressive. But now let me say this. So we've seen Kenyan coffee in Starbucks. Sawa. Let's go to the next element. How much do you think about from that coffee, that cup of coffee, that we normally buy at about what? Is it $5? How much? $5, yeah? For a cup of coffee, yeah? How much do you think goes to the farmers? What does the farmer get? No, they get something. No, not zero. They get something, but it's barely, there is no meat on the bone. No, they get no. So let me give you the context. Kenyan coffee is sold in Kenya for $8 per kilo. $8, right? Do you know how much Starbucks buys that coffee? Give me a value, estimated value. No. It's sold in Kenya at the auction for $8. So what do you think Starbucks buys that coffee for? 12? 10? Actually, it's in the north of actually it's close to 20. Someone say 20 there. It's close to 20. Do you know how much it is to ship that 1 kilo? It's less than $1. So the farmer gets $8. The buyer buys it for? So where is that, what do you call, where is it? Someone has said it. Let's go faster. It's with brokers, right? Actually, so let's be smarter even on the words. Let's not call them brokers. Brokers sounds like a ghost. It's with people like you and I who are very unfair to the farmers. So a couple of people are making a lot of money, yeah? But our farmers do not have what you talked about, the connectivity to the end market, yeah? Now, as a government, I can tell you this, there's a lot of effort that was done in the past, a lot of effort. Did we get the right results? We got some right because some of our coffee is coming to Starbucks, but our farmers are still not getting the returns. What we're doing right now, let me give you another product, roses. I can give you some, I learned about this the other day, by the way, so let me not try and pretend. Don't look at me like I'm intelligent. I'm just like each one of you. All our roses, not roses, Miami imports 60% of all roses in the US. Miami. 60% of all, not roses, sorry, all flowers in the US come through Miami. Kenyan flowers land in Miami. They do. Our flowers land in Miami. But they land in Miami through Amsterdam. Right? Again, lack of connectivity between the seller and buyer. Now, what are we doing as an embassy as part of these trade transactions? We currently do not have a direct flight from Jomo to Miami. However, what we need to do, and this is an opportunity that you guys need to look at, is for us to charter flights, a full flight. Again, the opportunity now looks too complex because now someone has said a full flight. How do you start? Right? The way you start is where you sit right now. You guys can get easily connectivity to the buyers. It's just talking about it, just a few phone calls. And I can tell you, I've been here only for 7 months. I've already connected with all the big organizations that buy flowers. Yeah? Go talk to those people. Take out that middleman who's taking it to Amsterdam. Get it directly here. Now, let me give you the trade deal in coffee, just coffee alone, to understand the numbers. And actually, something you'll be very excited about. Do you know how much coffee, for example, like if we're to access this market, it's approximately a $350 million transaction at $8. $350 million, right? Just taking it from $8 to 16, it moves to $700 million. So this is real, this is big. So just imagine, for each one of us now, let me put in better perspective. See, by the way, by the time all of you have come here today, you're suddenly making some money. Imagine doing what you're doing right now and doubling your salary or doubling the revenues of your business. That's the size of opportunity we're talking about. Yeah? But this requires people like us who are employed by you people to open these opportunities for who? For you guys. Yeah? And leverage that you have some of us in government right now, and hopefully you keep us much longer, because we're also private sector people and we're going to be on that side again. Yeah? Come and take these opportunities. We will avail and open doors for you. Yeah? To take up these opportunities. So don't just count on government. Say that those guys in the embassy are negotiating a trade agreement. Be part of it. The two deals, by the way, if we negotiate the trade agreement, do you know the two partners, the US and Kenya partner who's going to do the roses or the coffee? Two private sector companies, an American company and a Kenyan company. Yeah? So be part of that ecosystem. And there are many of these, by the way. I've just spoken about roses, and I've spoken about, by the way, let me give you this, something that some of you might know, by the way, because I've seen the way I ask a question, there are very many hands up. Do you know America imports a lot of trees from sub-Saharan Africa? Again, you see, he knows it. How many people know that? Do you know this? Let me give you the trees. There's a time I was buying palm trees in Kenya. Sorry, just the normal palms. You know the palms which are like this tall? Yeah? So in Kenya, that palm, a tall palm like this was costing about, call it about 12K. It takes about 1 year for it to come from here, where it's below 1,000, about 800 shillings, to this, and to sell it in Kenya. Now, when you ship it from Kenya, and again, the market that imports the most is in Miami, and distributes it, and send it to the States, you can increase your returns over 4 times from the Kenya market. So it just tells you that if we focus on the right areas and also leverage on the diaspora, there is so much more we can do for our country. And you see, like everyone, and I can say this, I might be politically incorrect. Diaspora, I'm diaspora right now, so I'm also part of you. We pride ourselves about the remittances a lot, right? A lot, right? What do we send our money for what? Consumption, not for investment. It's all for consumption. If it's for investment, is another story. Because most of us are sending it what? For upkeep, that's majority. But there are some who are sending for investments. Don't get me wrong, yeah? But it's now the way to scale that up is what do we need to do together? By the way, I like what you said, as a team. What do we do together to scale up investments? And if you're sending, let's say right now, $100 for consumption, try and put about 20% on investment. Yeah. Now, touching on investments, one thing that you look at when you're investing back home, and you start investment with there's something called the risk-free rate. So what you look at, the risk-free rate is this. You look at the central bank rates when you buy a treasury bill and bond, because it will give you a return when you're sleeping at night. Yeah, so it's called a risk-free rate. Now, all these investments you're looking at when you're talking about 15% returns, 10% returns, 20% returns, that's in dollar. But when you talk about shilling returns, you start with the risk-free rate plus premium. So you put the premium is what you put for yourself as what you'll accept as minimum return on investments. There is nowhere you'll get returns like Africa. Nowhere. You remember I spoke about Nigeria, by the way. Now let me tell you about Nigeria. Nigeria, you'll get much higher returns than Kenya. And the reason being is, a lot of people do not understand the market. By the way, I can tell you that. The first time I went to Nigeria was in 2005. And when I came back from Nigeria, I told guys, you guys need to go see that place. And in 2005, just to give you context, I just come from the States, yeah? And everyone, those are the days Nigeria didn't have all these billionaires. So everyone used to see Nigerians like it was not a progressive, but now go to Nigeria right now. You will be in shock, yeah? You get higher returns in Africa than this place. So my request, spend time, collaborate, partner, and drive synergies to drive investments back home. Let me just touch on a few more points and I can go in. When you touched on the previous, we talked about investing in infrastructure. There's some returns, like, for example, big infrastructure like ICT projects, airports, ports, roads is a bit complex, which give you very high returns and quick paybacks, especially like when you look at ICT projects. Yeah. So one thing you should be looking at is how do you get back your money in the quickest time possible. Yeah. There's some investments whereby you put in money, like heavy infrastructure, you'll get your money back in about 10 years. So it's you to make a call, but just make sure you get the right information at a good time. I don't want to touch much more on what was put forward for me to engage on. All I'll say is, from an embassy, please reach out to us. When I walked in, there's Dr. Mary who had an issue with her passports. Guys, passports is the easiest thing to get renewed in the embassy. Yeah? You're in DC, I'll say this directly. And if you get any complexity, I'm available. Chamwada has my number. You can share it with you. If you have a challenge, reach out to me. If you do not have a challenge, just call me and tell me you want to buy me lunch. Yeah? But passport, we're able to renew your passport, get you IDs, birth certificates. Those are the least basic things. We understand part of the feedback, like I've said, we've received is a process that was just, it looked like it was and I can tell you this. I have a friend of mine actually who works at the World Bank. He has been having issues for close to, it was 2-3 years, getting a passport. We sorted that issue in less than 30 minutes. Sorry? No, it's such yours too. No, seriously, we'll get you our contacts. Yeah? We've got an embassy, a consul office that works. And let me tell you, public service is supposed to work for you, not the other way around. Yeah? So the embassy does work. If you've got passports, please come. Please reach out. We'll help you. Yeah? What else is there? That's on the consular services. On the political side, sorry, actually it's a very important thing I should highlight here. You saw the item that was highlighted a few days ago, where Kenya was there's a request to amend an act in Congress here. Have you seen that? Okay. I'd like to make it, just to give you some context towards that. That is not the position of the US government. That is one senator who put in, that amendment. Yeah? I'll say it is not called for, because it did not give the country the right. The non-NATO status, major non-NATO ally status was given to us by the United States of America. It's not something that like a passport you apply and you're given. Yeah? It's something that was given by the government, and someone is challenging why Kenya was given. We will respond to it professionally, and especially ensure that our country is not put in a bad light. Yeah? And as diaspora, I'll say this. We need to get Kenya back to how we used to be. And it's, sorry? No, it's whereby, I'm not a politician, so I'm not going to answer that. Yeah? But I'm going to answer this, is we cannot do these investments we're talking about here if we don't love our country. I can tell you that directly. Do you know who talks the worst about Kenya? Kenyans. Yeah? By the way, I didn't tell you one thing. I joined government, not because I wanted to join government. I was a career investment banker. Actually, let me start this way. I didn't go back to Kenya because I left, that was 2003. And my career was booming. And I left a very good salary. In 2003, those days, I remember $75,000. It's not like now. You know, you guys make millions. $75,000 was a solid salary. But I left $75,000 per annum to accept 75,000 shillings in Kenya in 2003. But do you know why I did that? Okay, first, number one, I had multiple things I said whereby if I'm not in Kenya, I'll never be part of this ecosystem. If I go there 20 years from today, it will be harder for me to settle. But I wanted to be part of the Kenya ecosystem to change things and be a positive force for our country. Yeah? That's number one. That's 2003. In 2020, I'll tell you, it started in 2016 when I was constantly being asked. So I used to lend to government as a banker, to not just Kenya government, to all governments across Africa. Yeah? So I used to fund all the big infrastructure projects, project finance, and that now I was not on $75,000. Now I was making real money. Yeah? And I'm talking about real money even compared to here. Yeah? And I dropped all that, took an 80% pay cut to join government. And it's because I used to criticize government a lot, but I never criticized government without a solution. So I always used to tell them, and I remember that, especially it was January 2020, we were in London for the Africa Investment, it was Africa-UK Investment Forum, and I told the president, we keep giving you solutions, but you do not implement. Then he also looked at me and said, you keep giving us stories, and you do not want to be part of the solution. Because they've been asking me to join government. So when 2020 happened, COVID happened, my heart became lighter, and I accepted to join government finally. The views, so I'm telling you, the reason I'm saying this is, people like us have put equity to be part of the positive change of our country. Diaspora, please do the same. Yeah? It starts with actually it just starts with a mirror. if each one of us can look at our country and be a positive drive, it will influence the person next to you. Yeah? And I can tell you right now, if someone says that this front row, all the four of them are terrible people, it just requires one person to come here with a lot of positive vibe, and all the four will transform over time. Let me not be the preacher. Thank you very much for today. I'm very impressed to be here, and thanks.